What would you think if people around the world suddenly claimed they had caught mermaids on camera? A flood of eerie videos is sweeping the internet. Fishermen surrounded by strange human-shaped beings in the dead of night, a half-human body washing ashore in India, and figures racing beside a speeding boat with long tails flicking in the dark. Some clips even capture whistles and voices that sound almost human. These aren't bedtime stories. They're recordings. Real, unsettling, and impossible to ignore. Stay until the very end, because what you're about to see might change everything you believe about the ocean. A fisherman far offshore reported that he was being pursued by mer-like creatures. In the footage, his hands shake as he films, breathing hard from sheer panic. Behind his boat, 3 unusual shapes are visible, cutting through the water in direct pursuit. At first, he assumed they were dolphins, but seconds later, their forms became unmistakable, part human, part aquatic, with elongated limbs driving them through the waves at shocking speed. At one moment, they glide almost level with the boat, only a few feet away.
Oh! They're getting closer! I can hear them talking!
The man reacts fearfully, his voice shaking between the crashing surf and the howl of the wind. His expression is filled with dread as he accelerates, the ocean churning violently behind him. The figures continue to advance. They trail him for nearly a full minute before slipping beneath the shimmering water and disappearing. No one knows what happened next, but the video drew thousands of responses within hours. Many wondered whether he made it out safely, or if those beings eventually caught him. If the clip wasn't staged, then the idea of mermaids might not be pure folklore after all. Perhaps they're already moving under the same open waters we consider endless. And if all of this seems impossible, just wait. Because what follows isn't hearsay or fantasy. It's real accounts, supported by witnesses and footage that some believe offers genuine proof these creatures might exist. Let's return to the year 1857. Off the quiet shores of England, 2 Scottish sailors, John Williamson and John Cameron, reported an encounter that left them completely stunned. Just a short distance from their vessel, a form resembling a woman rose partway out of the water. She had long, dark hair, sun-browned skin, and eyes that fixed directly on them. For several motionless minutes, the ocean remained unnervingly calm. The figure simply observed them before gradually descending beneath the surface again, disappearing without a single trace left behind. Many people later wrote off their account as a trick of the sea or exhaustion from months spent sailing. But both sailors insisted they saw the figure plainly in clear weather and smooth water. If their claim was accurate, it could represent one of the earliest documented human encounters with a mermaid, suggesting these stories may have originated in the real ocean rather than in pure myth. Now, let's examine one of the most compelling modern pieces of footage. A YouTuber known as Marginal Media uploaded a clip that stunned millions. He explained that he was only testing his camera while diving near Australia's Great Barrier Reef when something appeared in the background that he couldn't make sense of. In the blurred blue of the water, a figure shaped like a human glided right past him. Its body moved with the fluid motion of a fish, yet the upper portion clearly resembled a person. He didn't realize what he had captured until he later reviewed the recording frame by frame. No bubbles were visible, no equipment of any kind, and the motion was far too natural to be a mechanical prop. He claimed it wasn't CGI or anything staged. For critics, the clip raised questions, but many viewers felt the movement looked far too authentic to brush aside. And if the footage is truly untouched, then it suggests that some of the most unsettling realities might be hiding within the moments we overlook. This next account is often labeled as one of the most convincing pieces of alleged evidence ever captured. In 1967, near Main Island in British Columbia, a group of ferry passengers reported seeing a blonde woman sitting on a rocky shoreline, holding a live fish and eating it as though it were completely ordinary. The scene was so unbelievable that someone quickly took a photograph. The image revealed her lower body shaped exactly like that of a dolphin. The story spread rapidly. A nearby aquarium owner even announced a $25,000 reward for anyone who could bring in the supposed mermaid. But only a few weeks later, the figure disappeared without leaving anything behind. The photograph still exists. The rumors continued to circulate, Yet the truth remains unresolved. Did those travelers actually witness a mermaid that day? Or was it simply a trick created by the cold, enigmatic sea? This clip is enough to make anyone's pulse spike. The footage shows a group of mermaid-like figures moving around a fishing vessel late at night. The deck lights cast a bright glow over the water, reflecting off their shimmering violet-blue skin that shines like metallic scales. Their golden eyes, sharp teeth, and the veins visible across their faces make them appear both unreal and terrifying, almost like something pulled straight from a sci-fi horror film. But the most disturbing moment is that they don't flee when they're noticed. Instead, one suddenly lunges toward the camera, mouth open wide, releasing a high-pitched scream that sends the person filming stumbling backward. Under the flickering light, the others continue following the boat with no effort at all, moving in perfect sync, almost like predators circling their target. Some people argue the clip is AI-generated or built with special effects, but the small details, the water reflections, the sound of breathing, the way the light hits their skin, feel too natural to ignore. Could it be divers in elaborate suits, or something entirely different? Because if they aren't afraid of humans, imagine how close they might come the next time. The footage you're about to watch is said to have been captured off the Atlantic coast, near a stretch of water local fishermen refuse to approach once the sun begins to fall. And this video is one of the reasons behind that. The boat races forward at full speed, waves erupting in its wake. But then, the person filming steps back as several dark shapes emerge in the foaming trail, staying close behind like a coordinated pack on the hunt. Their skin appears washed out. Their round black eyes stare straight ahead, and strands of soaked hair hang across their faces. They resemble neither humans nor fish. What unsettles fishermen most isn't just how they look, it's how fast they move. These beings glide through the water quickly enough to match a vessel running at maximum power. There are no arms stroking the surface, no legs kicking below. Only their heads and upper bodies skim along the water, keeping pace as if they've known these currents for centuries. Even as the boat accelerates, the figures remain beneath the lights, rising and dipping as though watching, chasing, or signaling something. With their elongated faces, unnatural speed, and synchronized movements, many believe they cannot possibly be human. They resemble the old mariner tales of sirens, half-human and half-fish creatures said to shadow ships and appear around dusk. If that's true, then this video could be the strongest evidence yet that mermaids are real, and have been observing humans far more closely than anyone imagined. It began as a routine haul after a passing storm. A crab boat working off the Florida coast pulled something unusually heavy inside its nets. The crew assumed it was a dead dolphin, until they took a closer look. Lying still on the deck was a form with human-like features, gray skin, matted hair, and hands that twitched just enough to prove it wasn't entirely lifeless. The crew stood frozen, unable to tell whether they were looking at a living being or something that shouldn't exist at all. They moved it into an empty crab tank, shut the lid tight, and decided to wait until morning to notify anyone. But once daylight came, the tank was completely empty. Only a thin crust of salt and a sharp metallic odor remained behind. Ever since that night, fishermen have whispered that something continues to move through those waters. Something caught once in a storm and mistaken for a mer-like creature. And while the internet was still erupting over the previous clip, another video suddenly spread everywhere. Reportedly filmed near the Florida coastline, a drone unintentionally recorded a pale blue figure twisting its body, flicking a tail, and rising toward the surface in the middle of open water. From the drone's height, every movement is visible. The top half resembles a human form, while the lower half extends into a tail that bends smoothly with each shift in the waves. But the way it moves doesn't match any known marine species. It tilts to one side, rotates its body, then abruptly drops beneath the surface for several seconds, as if tugged downward by something unseen, before coming back up in a way that looks unmistakably drained. That detail made the comment section erupt. The creature appears to be struggling to stay afloat. People wrote things like it's about to sink, it seems lost, or it looks confused by its own tail. And one question chilled viewers the most. Do sharks attack beings like this? Watching it spin, rise, and fall left everyone guessing. Was it hurt, separated from others of its kind, or fleeing something the drone never managed to capture? And the biggest question still has no answer. Why would a creature like that be drifting alone in the vast open sea? What would you do if you were filming the mist-covered ocean and spotted this figure seated on a faraway rock? This viral clip was recovered from a tourist's phone along the coast of Ireland, a place known for thick fog and constantly shifting waves. When they zoomed in on a rocky formation nearly 300 feet from land, what appeared in the frame stunned everyone who later watched it. Perched on the rock against the dark gray horizon was a pale figure with long hair draped over its shoulders. And with a closer look, the lower half of its body was unmistakably a long tail, curved gently as the wind moved across it. It sat completely still, head bowed as if running its fingers through its hair or gazing at the water below. Then, without warning, the creature turned. Its tail flicked with a motion far too fluid to be a costume or staged performance. The tourist reacted in panic, their hands shaking so violently that the footage blurred, ending just as the figure launched itself into the water at an impossible speed. The clip set off an immediate storm of reactions. Believers argued that with a tail that clear, it couldn't be fabricated. Skeptics questioned why no further footage was captured, while some analysts noted that the reflection and physical motions didn't align with any phone-generated visual effects. Now, let's shift to the waters of Indonesia, where fishermen head out before sunrise to cast their nets. But on this particular morning, when they pulled the net back in, they discovered something inside that was neither a fish, nor a sea snake, nor anything they had ever encountered. Resting in the tangled mesh was a being with a lower body shaped like a tail, covered in turquoise scales that glimmered under the daylight. But what made the entire crew step backward was its face. Pale purple skin, two golden eyes staring wide open without blinking, and a mouth lined with tiny sharp teeth. Soaked black hair draped over its shoulders like someone emerging from the depths. No one spoke. One fisherman touched its shoulder gently, only to jerk his hand away instantly. The creature's body felt icy cold, stiff as stone, yet it was still breathing, barely. The crew panicked, unsure of what to do next. Should they return it to the ocean, keep it aboard and alert authorities, or abandon the deck altogether? If this truly was a mirror-like being, what happened after the recording ended? Did they release it back into the water, or did someone arrive and remove it, similar to many stories of unidentified sea creatures quietly taken and never seen again? That question remains unanswered. This next clip spread rapidly across TikTok, and it's one many people struggled to believe. A diver exploring a coral reef, thought to be somewhere off the coast of the Philippines, was filming inside a section filled with deep fissures and narrow underwater caves, a perfect hiding spot for marine creatures. When he aimed his flashlight into one of the dark openings, a human-like face suddenly appeared in the shadows. Its eyes were wide, hair drifting around its head, and pale skin catching the light like scaled tissue. The diver froze, assuming his mind was playing tricks on him, until the figure shifted. It slowly raised its head, stared directly into the camera, and with a single powerful sweep of its tail, shot out of the cave. The water erupted into a burst of white bubbles, and the diver's panicked scream echoed through the footage, raw and unsettling enough to make viewers' skin crawl. Some claimed the clip was AI-generated, yet there were no visible signs of digital alteration anywhere in the frame. The lighting, the movement, and the diver's reaction all feel unmistakably natural. Marine specialists suggested the footage could have been taken more than 60 feet below the surface, where sunlight barely reaches, and the water remains eerily calm, a perfect hiding place for something. Or someone. Creepy, isn't it? But maybe these mermaid-like beings are getting closer to humans than ever before. The next clip takes viewers deep beneath the water in the southern Caribbean, and what the camera records down there is far more unsettling. While inspecting coral at night, a diver's flashlight accidentally lands on something that appears to be a white chunk of coral. But within moments, they realize it isn't coral at all. It's a hand. 5 unusually long fingers, thin as bone, with a delicate membrane stretching between each one. The beam of light makes the skin glow a cold blue-white against the surrounding darkness. The diver begins to panic, breathing heavily through the regulator, But the most disturbing moment comes when the hand shifts. A slight twitch, a faint grip on a nearby rock. Then it slowly drifts downward, fading into the black water without a single bubble or any noise at all. If that hand truly belongs to a mer-like creature, it suggests they aren't only observing humans from the surface. They're below us as well, hidden in the depths where light never reaches. This time, the story comes with an official government announcement. In 2009, in the coastal city of Kiryat Yam in Israel, residents claimed to see a half-human, half-aquatic figure appearing at sunset. Witnesses described a young woman with drenched hair who would leap and move across the surface of the water before disappearing in an instant. At first, few people took the reports seriously, but as the sightings increased, the rumor spread so quickly that city authorities had to intervene. They offered a $1 million reward to anyone who could provide clear proof of the creature. No capture needed, just solid evidence. NBC dispatched a team to the region, and the crew stayed on the shoreline for several nights. Then, one evening, the camera recorded a silhouette launching out of the water and vanishing into the waves. The footage was sent to the Ocean Research Center in Los Angeles for examination. After reviewing it, director Michael Schatt gave only one statement. They couldn't verify it as authentic, but they couldn't disprove it either. Next, another video stunned the international community. This time, it wasn't filmed out in the open ocean or anywhere near deep coastal water, but right in the middle of a major river in central China. The clip was recorded on September 5th along the Minjiang River, one of the longest and most dangerous rivers in Sichuan province. The person filming, a tourist standing on a mountainside, captured what he later called one of the strangest sights of his life. When zooming in from far away, 2 or 3 pale forms can be seen swimming against the current. What shocked viewers most was the way they moved. They were not paddling like humans, nor did they resemble any fish or freshwater species. These figures glided across the surface in smooth arcs, their long tails cutting through the rushing water. The terrified tourist kept repeating that it couldn't possibly be a person. As the clip circulated, opinions immediately collided. Some argued these were freshwater mermaids, an entirely separate evolutionary line living deep within China's rivers and lakes. Others insisted the footage was CGI, but specialists pointed out that the reflections, lighting, and water movement appeared remarkably authentic. So if they weren't human, what kind of creature can push against a river that powerful? Although nothing has been confirmed, the sighting of these pale shapes in the Minjiang River sparked an even more unsettling question. Could mermaids live in fresh water as well as the sea? A man in Malaysia uploaded this video, and within hours it exploded online with millions of views. He said he had been walking beside a small river near a residential neighborhood when he noticed something moving slowly near the shoreline. At first, he assumed it was a crocodile or a large snake, but once he looked closer, everything changed. The figure had a human-like head, while its lower body moved smoothly like the tail of a fish. In the clip, you can hear the man's voice shaking with fear as he struggles to process what he's seeing. The creature slid along the riverbank before easing itself into the water, vanishing into the calm, cloudy current. There were no bubbles, no splashes, only a slender, human-shaped form gliding quietly out of view. And the most unsettling part is that this river sits less than half a mile from a nearby village. If the creature was real, where might it be swimming now? And next comes a story no one ever anticipated. Then social media exploded once more when a TikTok account released a compilation of images claimed to be evidence that mermaids once lived on Earth. The video is under 20 seconds, yet every frame unsettled viewers because of how believable it appeared. The first image shows what looks like a mermaid infant, its dried, mummified upper body shaped like a human baby, while the lower half forms a brown, scale-covered tail. Next came the most divisive photo, a full skeleton featuring a human-like torso and a long tail section built from detailed bone structures that even experts would struggle to dismiss. The video then cuts to a pale creature sprawled on rocky ground, with tangled hair, a soft serpent-like body, and a face frozen in what resembles agony. It continues with several men carrying an unidentified body inside a long wooden crate, rumored to be a confiscated mermaid remains. And finally, a close-up of a face. White clouded eyes, thin glossy skin, and clear gill-like slits beneath the jaw. Details that many viewers insisted could not be fabricated. Within hours, the clip sparked thousands of discussions. If these images were fake, why did all the specimens appear disturbingly consistent? But if they were real, did mermaids once dominate the oceans long before humans? And are these washed-up bodies just a small glimpse of a truth we were never meant to uncover? In 2012, something so unusual occurred in Zimbabwe that it drew direct involvement from the government. At two major dam construction sites, workers abruptly abandoned their jobs, claiming they had been seized and pulled beneath the water by half-human, half-aquatic beings. The country's Minister of Water Resources at the time was forced to acknowledge the situation publicly, saying no one dared return. Local chiefs were brought in to perform cleansing rituals, because villagers believed the waters were inhabited by mermaids, ancient spirits said to guard lakes and rivers. But the most unsettling part came next. When foreign engineers were hired to replace the workers, they reported witnessing the same phenomenon and refused to continue the project. Skeptics pointed to dangerous whirlpools as the cause, but those who experienced the encounters insisted they felt hands gripping their ankles and pulling them into the depths. If those forces weren't mermaids, then what could possibly frighten hundreds of people at the same time? An old VHS tape from 1984 suddenly resurfaced on TikTok and sent the internet into chaos. The story takes place in Malmö, southern Sweden, where the Anderson couple brought their new camcorder to the beach to test it by recording the waves. They had no idea that within minutes they would capture something that would haunt them for the rest of their lives. In the grainy footage, a dark shape can be seen gliding beneath the water's surface. At first, they thought it was a seal, but moments later, the creature raised its head, revealing wet strands of hair and a face with features disturbingly close to human. Around the 7-second point, the tape shows its tail breaking through the surface, an enormous fin slicing the water before disappearing instantly, as if the creature dove down to hide. According to the couple's son, his parents never told anyone because they feared being dismissed as unstable. The tape remained locked inside a wooden box for more than 30 years until their grandson discovered it and uploaded it in 2023. Many believe this may be the oldest surviving mermaid footage ever recorded. But the most unsettling detail is that throughout the entire clip, the creature never moves like a fish. It moves rhythmically, deliberately, almost as if it knew someone was watching. A woman was standing on the deck of a sailboat in Puerto Vallarta when she suddenly spotted a tail gently flicking across the water's surface, not far from the vessel. At first, she assumed it was a dolphin or a small whale weaving through the waves, but the tail was far too slender, too fluid, and moved with an oddly human-like grace for any normal sea creature. She quickly lifted her phone to start recording, and when she zoomed in, the moment that made TikTok go silent appeared. Beneath the crystal blue water, a figure rose upward, revealing the upper body of a girl with long brown hair. Every detail of her face, from her nose to her lips to her cheekbones, looked so natural that she could have been an ordinary young woman above the surface. But her body blended flawlessly into a long, shimmering tail gliding beneath the waves, as if a single swift movement could send her vanishing in an instant. Many viewers insisted it was just someone in a costume, but those who believe in mermaid folklore were convinced it was something else entirely. After so many clips captured offshore, in heavy fog and in rough seas, just when everyone assumed mermaids only appeared in the wild ocean, another video completely stunned the internet. A 15-second recording taken inside a bar in Las Vegas shows a massive glass tank positioned directly behind the counter. What pushed the clip past 40 million views was the being swimming inside it. At first, viewers thought it was a performer in a costume, but once the camera moved closer, the unsettling details became unmistakable. Skin so pale it was nearly transparent, scales stretching from the hips down to the tail, and eyes that didn't resemble anything human, glowing beneath the bar's red neon lights. Even stranger was the way it moved. It shot upward and twisted with remarkable speed, exactly like the mermaid footage seen in open ocean videos. The biggest controversy started when the uploader claimed the bar had hired no performers that night, and no one knows where the creature was taken after the video was filmed. If these beings are real, is there a place out there keeping them in captivity? This next case included actual footage, and it stunned viewers everywhere. On a remote African shoreline, dozens of locals gathered around a small creature lying on the sand. Its lower half was shaped like a fish's tail, while the upper body resembled that of a human woman. Her mouth moved faintly, her eyes half open as if struggling to breathe, and every moment was captured on video. The clip's origin is still uncertain. Some claimed it came from Kenya, others insisted it was filmed in Ghana. But here's the unsettling part. Within days of the video going viral, it vanished, along with the account that originally posted it. If it were fake, why remove it so quickly? And if it were genuine, does that mean mermaids aren't just ocean legends, but beings quietly returning to our world? It happened in a small fishing village in Tamil Nadu, India. After a strong high tide, locals found a strange body washed ashore. From a distance, it resembled a small whale or perhaps a turtle, but as they approached, they stopped in shock. Lying on the sand was a half-human, half-aquatic form. Its tail stretched nearly 6 feet long. The head was covered with a white cloth, but the exposed portions were enough to leave everyone stunned. 5-fingered hands, dried human-like skin, and a chest showing a rib-like structure. Crowds gathered around it, recording and whispering in disbelief. Some of the older fishermen said they had heard tales from their ancestors about deep-water beings, protectors of the ocean, though none had ever witnessed one themselves. The footage spread quickly online, leading Indian researchers to look into the case. Yet no official report was ever issued. The body was quietly transported to a local laboratory and never seen again. That night, villagers claimed the waves rose higher than usual, as if something out in the darkness was searching for what had been taken. Was it coincidence? Or a sign that such creatures truly live beneath the Indian Ocean? And what about you? After everything you've seen, do you believe mermaids could be real? Share your thoughts in the comments. And now, prepare to listen closely. Everything started with a 44-second video filmed on a small boat in the middle of the night. There was no sign of any creature, only pitch-black water and the sound of waves brushing against the hull. But what pushed the clip past 3.9 million views wasn't what appeared on screen. It was the sound rising from beneath the surface. The man on the boat yelled in terror after hearing a strange call. It wasn't a dolphin, and it wasn't a whale. The noise was clear, drawn out, and carried the eerie tone of a woman's voice calling to something below the waves. In the comments, one viewer mentioned that the sound resembled audio from Mermaids, the body found. Another wrote that they had replayed it 100 times and still felt chills. The moment reminded people of old myths about sirens, beings said to communicate through their voices to lure others. What made this clip even stranger was that the sound occurred the moment the boat slowed down, almost as if something in the deep was trying to get its attention. So tell me, do you think these creatures are real? Or is the ocean hiding something we still don't understand? This is Nightmare Vault. Subscribe and descend deeper with us into the unknown. That's all for tonight's video. Which encounter gave you chills? Let us know in the comments below. Got your own experience? We want to hear it. And whatever you do, don't miss what's coming next.